Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing really well. So today I'm going to be chatting about all of the books that I ended up reading in the month of February, and this was a great month in terms of quantity of books that I read, but not a great month in terms of quality, or at least quality for me. So I did not really find any gems this month, unfortunately. No 5-star reads or reads that I, will think about and remember and love a lot. But I did have a lot of wonderful life experiences, like going to Mexico, going to my first ever hockey game, and I have uploaded vlogs of nearly all of my life/reading experiences from this past month. So if you guys are interested in checking them out, they are all spoiler free, and I will have them linked as I go throughout the books. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So starting out with my least favorite book of the month, we have Age of Vice by Deepti Kapoor. I ended up giving this one a 2 out of 5 stars. So I am a reader that loves the vibes of books. I love sinking into my couch with a cup of tea. I love the slow pace. I love the feelings. I love the memories. I love crying and smiling. And I am not a reader that loves fast-paced, high-octane, really dramatic books, and that is what this one was. And so I think this was a case of wrong book for me, but I don't think it was necessarily a poorly written book. So this is a very plotty, fast-paced book that takes place in India and follows the very famous Wadia family. And it starts out with a Mercedes-Benz jumping the curb and killing 5 people on the sidewalk. And that's kind of the crime that ties all of this book together. And then you flash back and follow Ajay, who is a very poor boy who ends up getting kind of embroiled in the Wadia family. You also follow many other people who are involved in their family. But believe me, that is only the beginning of the story. There's so much more that goes on in here, but that's kind of the jumping off point. This is going to be a trilogy, I believe. I'm not sure when the second book is coming out. And for me, I really enjoyed the beginning of the book, the character arc of Ajay and following him from growing up in a very poor area to kind of meeting Sunny Wadia and getting involved in their family. I loved watching him making the decisions that he made and kind of seeing him develop as a character. But especially towards the end, it just became way too complex and way too dramatic and hard to follow. And I just lost that love and that excitement that I had for reading about these characters. Overall, I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. I know many people have really loved this book, so maybe you will love it if this is the kind of book that appeals to you, but it just was not for me. Next up, I read All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. So Ashley Flowers is probably best known for her podcast Crime Junkie, which is a true crime podcast where she tells stories with her best friend Britt, all of them true crime stories, and their company, Audio Check, they have a lot of different podcasts kind of in the true crime genre. And a lot of their mission as a podcast company is advocacy and trying to solve cold cases. But this is her first published fiction novel, and I overall really liked this one. I gave it 3.5 stars. It is about a reporter who goes to her hometown, a very small Midwestern town, to investigate the murder of one of her close friends that happened many years ago in the 90s. And she is also taking care of her uncle, I believe, who has dementia, and kind of moves in with him and is working on kind of getting the house together and just taking care of him. But as she gets there, another girl goes missing, and she starts to look into whether there was a connection between this new disappearance and the old murder that happened when she was a little girl. Now, this is super plotty, has lots of twists and turns. I think it was really well paced, which I think is Ashley Flowers' strength. As with her podcast episodes, they're always so intriguing and really get you invested in the story. I did feel that some of the characters in here didn't have too much of a story arc or character growth to them, which was a little bit disappointing to me, but overall it was a very solid thriller that ends with quite the plot twist and cliffhanger. So if that's your vibe, I would really recommend this. overall, I will continue reading her books as she publishes them, as I am a very big Crime Junkie fan and really enjoyed her first novel. So next up we have A Fatal Grace by Louise Penny. So this is part of a mystery series, the first one being Still Life, which I read last month and gave 5 stars and really, really loved. It is kind of a cozy-ish detective mystery story that takes place in Quebec in a small town called Three Pines. There are recurring characters throughout the story, but different crimes. But I would recommend that you start with Still Life if you are reading the book. This one is about the murder of a woman named Cece de Poitiers, who is a very unliked lady, and she is electrocuted during a curling match, and so her crime is kind of an odd one, and it calls upon Detective Gamache, who is the lead detective who kind of follows all of these crimes, to really try and figure out how this could have happened. It does take place around the Christmas season, so that was fun to read. But this book was just trying to do a lot, and there were a lot of pieces, a lot of plot conveniences, and a lot of things that didn't quite, I felt, fit together or go together, and I think it was trying to maybe do more than was there. There were definitely some clever moments, but also a lot of moments where I was rolling my eyes. But beyond all of that, though, I loved coming home to the characters of Three Pines, the village, the coziness, the bistro. It's just the most kind of cozy atmosphere of really quirky, lovable characters that you will just fall in love with, and I am in this series till the end. I have already started reading book number 3, which unfortunately I didn't get to in my vlog where I was reading the Louise Penny books, but I will talk to you guys about very soon as I finish it. And I am obsessed with this series. I will continue on. This was not my favorite one in the series, but that's not changing anything for me. All right, and the last book that I read this month was A Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice as part of my Titanic reading blog. I also read part of Titanic First Accounts, which I'm not going to talk about here because I didn't actually finish it. And it's not a book that I would even be able to rate if I did finish it, because it's a nonfiction book about, you know, the experience of the Titanic sinking, and I wouldn't be able to rate that. But A Brilliant Night of Stars and Ice is a fictional novel that takes place the night of the Titanic and follows a third-class passenger from the Titanic, as well as the captain from the Carpathia, which was a ship that kind of rescued all of the lifeboats from the Titanic. This book is very different from the Titanic movie in that so much of the story takes place after the sinking of the Titanic. So I remember at the beginning of this book, I felt really jarred by the fact that the sinking was already happening, and I didn't really know any of the characters, and it didn't feel like there was a lot of character development. But as we went on and as we kind of followed them, you know, throughout the story, throughout the night and beyond, I really, really started to enjoy it and just realized that it was a different focus from the Titanic story that we've all heard and seen so many times. I did think it was really well written. It is quite a short one, so it is definitely a good one if you are interested in reading about that time period. I ended up giving it also a 3.5 stars. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for my February wrap up. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys ended up reading in the month of February, and if you read any of the books that I talked about. And with that, I will see you guys very soon in another video. Bye.